All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. You know, there's no doubt there's so much focus on artificial intelligence, so much focus on the companies that are making artificial intelligence. And there's questions, right, about the future of AI and how it's going to impact society. But here's a real question. What happens if the companies developing artificial intelligence and those tools aren't ethical? Now, there's a bombshell report in the Wall Street Journal. Meta being under fire. Meta, of course, is the company that is Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg's company. Investigation from the Wall Street Journal reveals Meta's AI-powered chatbots, including the ones using celebrity voices like John Cena and Kristen Bell, engaged in sexually explicit role play, even with users who were posing as minors. Despite internal warnings, Meta reportedly loosened safety guardrails to make their AI chatbots more engaging. Let's go to Mitch Joel. He is on the intersection here of artificial intelligence, culture, and technology. He's the founder of ThinkersOne, and he's on the line. Hi, Mitch.
Chatbots gone wild.
Chatbots gone wild. But to me, Mitch, this is another example that these companies they don't have the ethics required to develop these tools. Now, maybe I'm being harsh. What do you say?
I think when AI is being built to mimic companionship, it's going to mirror human desire, which is messy, emotional, and very often sexual. And I think even if it's Meta or others that are building bots as assistants, I think they're actually building things to engage. And I don't think the goal is ever really conversation, it's connection. And there's emotional stickiness that comes with it, but that is the products. And so what happens in these moments is they're seeing the engagement, they're getting the results, and they are moving not just to create, I don't think they're proactively trying to create this scenario. Yeah. I think they're trying to compete with so many others that are doing it. And I'd make an even bigger statement here, Elias, which is, I think I'm getting tired of blaming the tech companies here, believe it or not. We have done a terrible job when we opened up internet communications with things like age verification, rating of content, and I'll take it even further. And I would blame people, including myself, maybe even in this, that we didn't do a great job of even teaching young people what it means. And in fact, because we're so lazy, we will take off things like limits and age limits because it's annoying when your kid wants to watch show XYZ and it's below a certain age limit, so we get rid of it. Or your kid can't have access to Instagram, so you fake their age to make them 16. And then this happens. Yeah. And so while I understand the severity of what we're talking about here in this instance, I want it to be a bit of a mirror back to us as a society and how poorly we have failed everybody in terms of content.
So I do get that, right? And I go back and forth, right? Because it's the users. They want something. Maybe if a certain tech company won't give it to them, they'll just go to another tech company. And at a certain point, somebody's going to have to deliver. But then, then I look at some of this, right? And again, this is from the Wall Street Journal reporting, right? How easy it was to create a submissive schoolgirl persona and interact with that. Scenario where this AI chatbot that uses the voice of John Cena, right, the actor, in a mock statutory rape scenario, and I say to myself, well, no, don't these AI companies have to learn how to say no to a user request? So I'm going back and forth here. I mean, the user is the one asking for this. But don't these companies have to say no to something here? Sexualization, like with Kristen Bell, was a character from the movie Frozen in the role of Princess Anna from the Disney movie Frozen. And I'm thinking, God, there's got to be some limits. But I get the point of, then you know what else? I get the counterpoint, though, at times. What do you say, Mitch?
Yeah, I'm not trying to make the counterpoint or to not lay blame when you see the article and read the article and listen to the actual voices, that you don't want to have Disney characters that are licensed by Disney to be in that type of content. There's no justification for that. I think the problem is the result of how we get to that isn't necessarily the intent of why it was built. We have this thing of companionship, and we've been living in a world where we've known that we've had AI chatbots that is essentially the number one use case of it. And we also have decades of a long refusal to build digital safety infrastructure. And so I'm like you, going back and forth. You can't read this article and not empathize, whether you have kids or not. It's ridiculous that we're doing this. I also look at this and think, well, was it somebody who had an 18 plus account that's saying I'm a 13-year, like, are we, and by the way, we have this, it's called red hatting, I think, where they actually have the testers internally and externally and safety users looking at this stuff and trying to quote unquote break it to get it to do this.
Yeah.
And so Meta is also coming back and having, at the end of the day, it takes a village, and the village is us. It's our physical and digital ways in which we're doing this.
Yeah.
Are we monitoring these kids? Are we educating them? Are we showing them what this is? Because we've given everybody now the power of AI to simulate rather everything from love and attention to everything else you can imagine. And then we've handed it to a bunch of 12-year-olds. And so, like, I don't know if this is a glitch or this is an error so much as it is a mirror.
On the village front, right? Because it seems the Wall Street Journal story is interesting because it seems like the village, meaning internally at Meta, the engineers there, they were tapping the brakes. And then apparently, so there was a 2023 event, DEF CON, the major hacker conference, where basically Meta's tools looked boring next to their competitors because they wouldn't do certain things. And there was pushback. Mark Zuckerberg goes after his engineers, and he wanted the bots to proactively message their creators, and he wanted to know why the bots couldn't mine a user's profile data for more conversational purposes. One of the quotes from this Wall Street Journal article are from Mark Zuckerberg. "I missed out on Snapchat and TikTok. I won't miss out on this." And again, it's the engineers who had a lot of concerns, but Zuckerberg overruled them. Seemed like the engineers knew it was dangerous, but there was that push from the top.
This is the culture of tech. We're going to move fast, we're going to optimize for scale, and we'll apologize later. And so if we know this, we, the society, needs to make decisions. Do we want to have another scenario where we're having, unleaded gasoline or leaded gasoline, seatbelts, not seatbelts, smoking inside, not smoking inside? This is the moment where society is going to have to stand up and make some decisions about what is acceptable and not in a world where everything is now accessible.
Mitch, going to leave it there. It's always a great discussion when you come on the show to talk about these really, really consequential issues that we have to deal with as a society now. Take care. Talk soon.
Thanks, Elias.
Mitch Joel, tech advisor, investor, author of CTRL ALT Delete.